is a bona fide fact that Pakistan is a terror state.
Pakistan as a nation is not against us. Pakistani people are not against us.
We should not host those tournaments. We should say we will not allow Pakistanis to come to India.
Yeah, I mean, there are enough leftists who say even worse things about India than Pakistanis do.
Dr. Ranganathan, you want to respond to Manish?
I think we need to calm down and go back to first principles if we want to solve this issue. And I want to speak purely on the basis of first principles. I have three brief points to make. Number one, all those who say do not mix politics with sport, I disagree with them. For the simple reason that for 40 years, even though South Africa was one of the most prosperous economic nations in the world, we decided we will have nothing to do with it, because it was an apartheid nation, because it was suppressing the majority population, and I am proud that we did it. We did not play sports with South Africa for 40 years. Was that not our politics entering sport? And I am proud of that. So for those who say that you must not take a moral stand or an ethical stand, even though it is a political stand when it comes to sport, they are wrong. I disagree. Number two, it is a bona fide fact that Pakistan is a terror state. Pakistan has been a rogue state, and we bilaterally must not do anything with Pakistan, even if it comes to economics or sports or entertainment. That much is absolutely clear. And I'm not just talking about in the wake of Pahalgam. Pahalgam is just one of the latest instances it has perpetrated. We have to go back to not just 4 wars, but 26/11 and so many other cases. Pulwama being another one. Now, the third point, if we go to first principles and we say we should not take part with Pakistan or interact with Pakistan or any other dictatorship in international fora, we would be hypocritical. Because we continue to interact with dictatorships like China that has caused us more harms in terms of terrorism is concerned, killed our Jawan. We interact with North Korea. We interact with a lot of in international fora. So are we going to say now on first principles, we will not even take part in Olympics? We will return the World Cup that we won in cricket because Pakistan took part in it. Let us go back to first principles. Bilaterally, we must not interact with Pakistan. But when it comes to international events, international fora, we would be hypocritical if we are not interacting with Pakistan or boycotting some international events and taking part in some international events like Olympics or Asiad or Cricket World Cup.
Okay, let me come on to the next point that we're debating. And this is, of course, the so-called quote-unquote technical glitch that has been cited. How is it possible, Rahul Ishwar, that, just a few months after what we have seen, not just what happened in Pahalgam, we've seen what happened as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. Suddenly, you have all these propaganda handles, these actors who've been spewing venom against India. Their social media profiles suddenly become active, and this is attributed to a technical glitch.
Madhavji, let me agree with Dr. Anand Ranganathan in that first principle theory, and that first principle should be, we should be proud of our patriotism, but that patriotism should never be patriotism. Patriotism is absolutely fine, and we should definitely be proud about, but who are we against? We should be against the Pakistani terrorist. We should be against the extremist funding ISI, but Pakistan as a nation is not against us. Pakistani people are not against us. So the whole idea of disengaging with the Pakistani people or Pakistani sports or other Pakistani aspects, we will have to rethink. We need to have a sense of reasonability in all these things. And yes, all the hardliners should definitely be there. Second, let us be honest with it. The government thinks the entire thing is inching back to some kind of a normalcy. Maybe it's a new normal that inching back happens. Suddenly the media uproar happens. Perhaps that's the reason why they are quoting the whole glitch thing. But any reasonable amount, not the extreme Pakistani, gul kind of people who are spewing venom against India, but reasonable handles, reasonable internet freedom, we should definitely be thriving, because we strive ourselves to be a democracy, a positive democracy, an inclusive democracy.
Let me bring in Sushant Sareen on that. Sushant Sareen, reasonable freedom should be granted to those Pakistani handles which belong to citizens. But some of those handles have actually been spreading hate against India. I think we're forgetting that so quickly.
Yeah, I think Mr. Ishwaran thinks that handles which call for making Indian film actresses sex slaves of Pakistanis are very reasonable handles. Yes, they should be opened. I don't know what empirical evidence Mr. Ishwaran has that general Pakistanis are really nice and love India and are very reasonable people. He has absolutely no idea about that country, but he wants to virtue signal on your channel, so he's welcome to doing it. India is a free country. Third, I have to join issue on the first part of your debate on this whole hockey controversy. Number one, I think when Mr. Subaiya was also playing, and he's a very distinguished player, There was a lot of terrorism even at that point of time. Ideally, we should have taken this position at that point of time. For Mr. Subaiya to say that, well, that was a very good team, and at that point of time, things were not as bad. Things were even worse. A lot of bad things had happened back then, whether it was in Punjab, where over 30,000 Indians were killed by terrorists supported by Pakistan, or in Kashmir, where even more thousands were killed by these Pakistani terrorists. So please don't tell us that it was all hunky-dory back then and nowadays it's all bad. Second, on this first principle, I keep hearing my friend Anand talk about first principle. There is only one first principle in international relations. If you are powerful, you will get away with it. You can do whatever you want. If you are not, you will have to suffer. Okay? And I will tell you how that first principle works with what what the other gentleman on the show was talking about mature countries and global superpowers and very, very mature countries who have been framing rules of the game virtually. They actually threw out the Russians from the Olympic Association. And they said that, well, Olympic Russian athletes can come, but they can't be representing their country because their country is evil. Maybe we can't do that simply because we don't have the same clout as the Western world had insofar as IOC is concerned. But I think if you're talking about first principles, it should not just be limited to bilateral tournaments. I think even when international tournaments, if we are going to be hosting in India, and if that means that we have to hold our noses and call the Pakistanis, then maybe we should not host those tournaments. We should say we will not allow Pakistanis to come to India. Yes, if we want to play in Olympics outside or international tournaments outside India, yes, certainly we can then take a call whether Anand finds it hypocritical or not. All politics and all life is full of hypocrisy. So let's not get into this hypocrisy, the H word. Let's keep the H word out. Okay. There is hypocrisy, right? Yeah. And you fight battles which you can win. You don't sometimes join certain battles which you can't win, and where you find some other ways out. Okay. And the last point I want to make is on this entire, this business of, how good the Pakistanis are going to be, how we should open up, listen to reasonable views. The very same channels which Mr. Ishwaran is saying should be opened were people who were spouting venom and hate and peddling propaganda against India at the time when it was most crucial. None of those people said that what happened in Pahalgam is very wrong, what the kind of terrorists that we are sponsoring in this country are wrong.
Absolutely.
I'm distinguishing between state and society in Pakistan, but give me evidence that the society does not stand with the state's policy in Pakistan.
Okay, and quick responses. I want some quick responses. You made a number of important points there, and one by one, I want to get responses from Dr. Ranganathan as well as Rahul Ishwar. Dr. Ranganathan first.
Yeah, first of all, camaraderie to a fellow person from the south. Although my Punjabi friend Paji might mind this, he's Ishwar, not Ishwaran. But be that as it may, I think Sushantji is right about rebutting Rahul. But I'll say this: he's completely culled and nullified my argument, because when he says that it is all right to be hypocritical, it depends on power. I mean, I have no rebuttal to that. So I agree with his point of view. If you believe that you can be hypocritical, then you don't need to follow first principles. It's fine. You can take part in Olympics. You can participate. You can have a sports context with Pakistan, and you can have games with Pakistan. And at the same time, you can say that when it comes to bilateral, I won't. Or when it comes to arranging international events in India, I won't. That's fine. But then he is being hypocritical, and that's okay with me. Number two, sorry.
No, conclude your point. Conclude your point. Yeah.
Anand,
just concluding the point.
Cross the road in India. If you are without hypocrisy, you have to be hypocrisy to even cross a road in India. So don't talk about hypocrisy.
And diplomacy is all about hypocrisy. In any case, there are double standards and yardsticks that change all over the place in any case, as you all know.
But final point I wanted to make was that, I mean, as a free speech absolutist, I do take the point of why block anyone, even if that person is saying terrible things about India. I mean, there are enough leftists who say even worse things about India than Pakistanis do. That's also a fact. We don't block them. But here, I think Sushantji has a point, because they are making money off Indians.
Absolutely.
And that money is being used for terror activities.
Yes.
So there is a caveat there. It's not as simple as free speech.
So Rahul, I want Rahul to come in on that. I want Rahul to come in on that because Rahul, these are individuals who are spreading hate. They are monetizing that kind of hate and Indians are actually watching some of that content. Why should we even allow that?
And Madhavji, it's a case-by-case thing. And let's be very realistic. I have great respect for Sushantji, but we have to draw a line somewhere. Otherwise, you can also turn around and say that India should not engage even with Pakistan in Olympics. India should not play any kind of games anywhere because that, again, can be seen as some kind of a compromise. So that's the reason why we have to get a middle path somewhere. We have to draw a line somewhere where we distinguish between the Pakistani government and Pakistani society. And there are millions of reasonable Pakistanis, especially in many other nations, including Middle East, who have empathized with India and said that these terrorists don't belong to us, and you can see umpteen number of people across the spectrum who do that. So let's be reasonable with it. We are against the Pakistani.
Who are these Pakistanis? They are asking you.
A single Pakistani.
Who are these Pakistanis? Can you name some of them?
I would request Anandji to please go through my videos. I was at Dubai at that point of time, and Pakistani drivers fled basically UAE.
Sir, they may say it privately, but publicly, how many of them have actually said it is a debatable question. Sushant wants to come in on that. Sushant, you want to respond to that?
About Shahid Afridi being the reasonable Pakistani who was invited by the Cochin Engineering College people.
Yes.
Are you talking about him?
Yeah.
He's the reasonable Pakistani.
People who invited them are right-wingers too. See, this is the thing where, yes, we should be strongly against Pakistani terrorism, but there is a distinction between Pakistani state and Pakistani society. State being controlled by the ISI and the hardline elements, the society is of normal people, and we have to find...
So society there is also controlled by ISI. There's no one else calling the shots there. Unfortunately, that's the state of affairs there. But let me bring in Mr. Subaya. Yeah, let me bring in Mr. Subaya. Mr. Subaya, there is a private event happening. It's not under the aegis of the BCCI or the ICC, but there's a private event where there are some senior players who will be playing with former Pakistan cricketers, including Shahid Afridi in a few days. That's what's happening on ground. How do you prevent such things from taking place? Because they'll say that it's a private event being organized by a private party.
No, we should not be. See, we can't control certain international tournaments where the ICC tournament or FIH tournament, international level tournament somewhere else. But problem is that earlier we used to play the test match in Pakistan also, we played. But problem is nowadays that Pahalgam incidents happened recently. And how we can forget and do all this, we forget everything and invite them here. As I say, if I see Pakistan flag flying high in Chennai or in Rajgir, I don't like it, actually. At this moment, we are all worried about our people. And as Sushant sir said, so it was there, but not so much.
Manish, quick response. We are almost out of time. Couldn't we have shifted this out to another location and continue to respect the Olympic Charter? Perhaps another location, not India?
Yeah, it is. We have to respect the Olympic Charter.
Manish, question for Manish. If you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Madhavji.
No, the question is this. Couldn't we have quickly shifted it to another location? It's happened many times for many tournaments in the past.
No, but then if it's an international event, what can you do? It's happening in Rajgir in Bihar. Where do you shift it? Anywhere within the country you shift, it's the same thing. So that's something which is, you have to adhere it.
Well, it's about a lot of this is about deft management, and in fact, our sports bodies, there are several of them who have wield a tremendous amount of weight. Perhaps they could have looked at it from the point of view of sensitivities, but we leave it there for the moment. Rahul Ishwar, Manish Baria, Dr. A.B. Subaya, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, and Sushant Sareen, thanks so much for joining us this evening.